Hello and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester United transfer news daily, giving you the latest Manchester United transfer news with that real fan opinion. As you can see below, Perisic, Ronaldo, De Gea, a couple of others, and also something we're introducing probably just for this week's run for the transfer daily, maybe go into next week, is defensive midfielder. We know we need one. We're going to profile what we think and what maybe Mourinho's thinking over the next few days, and we've got our first one to discuss today. But let's start off with Ivan Perisic, 28 years of age in February, from Inter Milan. This is a deal that's been going on for a potential deal that's been going on for a long time. We've already signed Victor Lindelof, and the feeling is that Perisic will be the next signing to be revealed. I think a lot of us were expecting Morata mid to late last week. He got married over the weekend. There is potential that Morata could still happen, but as discussed on the Sunday show last night, there is a little bit of concern around the Morata deal because there's numerous reasons why this could fall through or stall. Based on one, obviously Ronaldo, which I'll talk to you about in a moment, and his current situation where he's adamant he's leaving Real Madrid, and Manchester United would be stupid not to be in for him. Do you need Ronaldo and Morata? So that's one. Two, would Real Madrid want to be selling Morata when they don't know what the situation is with Ronaldo? And three, would Morata want to be moving to Manchester United if there's a potential deal with Ronaldo to do? He's already spent a lot of time on the bench for Real Madrid. Would he want to do that for Manchester United? When, as we understand it until late last week, what he was being offered at Manchester United is the number 9 shirt and playing every week. So that one maybe won't happen anytime soon, but who knows, maybe it will. Can't give you any more than that. But Perisic apparently is a deal that Manchester United are determined to finish and get done. Why it's been stalling, we suspect it's to do with the fact that Inter Milan have got to pay £30 million by the end of the month as part of their financial fair play bill. They are owned by rich owners now, but you can't just clear it off like that. They must generate that 30 million. Woodward is playing hardball, and Perisic wants to come to Manchester United, so they probably know that, and they are probably trying to get a good deal. So don't be surprised if Perisic comes to United in the next week or so for under £40 million, which in the current market is probably not bad. I think he's worth 35 million tops, but we'll wait and see. The next thing I want to talk to you about is De Gea, Ronaldo. Look, people shouldn't sit pontificating about Ronaldo, saying, oh, you're an idiot if you think he's going to come. History shows that he probably will stay at Real Madrid because this has happened a few times, but I don't think, in fairness to those who are getting their hopes up, that it's ever been on this scale before. It's never been pretty much Ronaldo saying irreversibly he's going to leave Real Madrid. Now, a lot of people think it's to do with the fact that he's just been charged in relation to tax fraud around £14 million, and he feels aggrieved that Real Madrid don't look after him the way that Barcelona look after Messi. I'm sure that is the case, but then there's another stream now that apparently Ronaldo has been feeling like this for a number of weeks and may have spoken to Sir Alex Ferguson at the Champions League final and said that he's looking for a new challenge and ready to leave Real Madrid. You know what? I don't need to commend Ronaldo. He doesn't need us to commend him. I don't think that he would be that interested in it, although he does like United fans. But if he wants to leave Real Madrid because he feels he's got something left and a challenge left in his career at the top level, and he's done everything he wanted to do at Real Madrid, then that would be very, very exciting, and I hope it would be Manchester United. But let me throw you this scenario. What if, and this has been reported, what if Manchester United were offering up De Gea as part of a deal that involves Ronaldo? Would that please you? As I said on the Sunday show last night, the Donnarumma thing is very interesting. He's basically told AC Milan that he wants to leave. He's also said that he doesn't want to stay in Italy and go to Juventus because that would feel weird. So therefore, PSG, why would he want to go to PSG? I think in England it can only be Manchester United because Chelsea have got a keeper already. Man City have just signed a keeper. And Real Madrid, I think it's Real Madrid or Manchester United, and Real Madrid want De Gea. Is this part of a manoeuvring from Manchester United that they would let De Gea go if they can get something that they really want from Real Madrid, and then they'll bring Donnarumma in as the keeper? It's an interesting theory, and it's one that I've been working on for the last sort of 24 hours, that Donnarumma's situation, is that the first sort of tumble on the pack of cards, because he's leaving AC Milan and there's only 2 clubs he can go for as far as I'm concerned, Real Madrid or Manchester United. And would Real Madrid want Donnarumma? I still think they want De Gea, so it's interesting. Would you get rid of De Gea or it's probably a bit harsh, would you use De Gea as part of a deal to get Ronaldo? If I'm being totally blunt, yes, I would. I mean, Ronaldo is going to score all sorts of goals for us, and De Gea can only keep clean sheets, and they are very important. But Ronaldo can win your titles. I don't think a goalkeeper wins your titles. I think he saves you, but he doesn't win your titles consistently. Goal scorers do, so I would do it. And what I wanted to bring in, which I haven't brought in on any show yet, is how many years do you think we'd get out of Ronaldo? Well, you can never say never, but he doesn't really pick up injuries. He looks after himself very, very well. He turned 32 in February. So if we got 3 seasons out of him, he'd turn 35 in the 3rd season. So he'd be 33 next year, 34 the year after, 35 in the February after that. I can tell you that Zlatan turned 35 in October. So that's virtually half a year before. So I think we'd get 4 years out of Ronaldo comfortably at the best of him. And interestingly, that Rooney target is only about 140 goals away. So if he scored 40 goals a season, he'd eclipse it. But it's big ifs, but let's see what happens on that one. And then in relation to the centre defensive midfielder, I wanted to mention Radji Nainggolan. Apparently, Roma would be open to offers for Nainggolan. As we know, Chelsea would like him, and Manchester United, as reported by Di Marzio and a few others over a month ago, Manchester United were interested in Nainggolan, but apparently he wants to stay in Rome. Well, if Roma are open to offers for him, what a player he would be. And then as our first one in relation to centre defensive midfielder, because we don't know who it's going to be at the moment, but we know that Mourinho wants one, this lad would be perfect. He's only just turned 29 in May, so he's not a spring chicken, but rightly, a lot of people, if you watch United Stand live streams, you'll see in the live comments, whenever Nainggolan gets mentioned, he gets mentioned as he's not a CDM, he's not a centre defensive midfielder, he's a box-to-box midfielder. And how right they would be. This is a player who's got a decent shot on him, he's very creative, he's very fast, he's good at running with the ball, but I would still say his #1 attribute is his tackling ability, his tenacity, and his ability to break up the play. Now, as I just said, he turns 29 in May. Most players in their late 20s, stroke 30, early 30s, have to adapt their game if they're a box-to-box midfielder. And he can be an absolutely perfect centre defensive midfielder for whoever he goes for. And I think he's sort of coming to that point in his career now where if he wants to elongate it for the next 4 or 5 years, then a disciplined centre defensive midfielder is right up his street, and I think he'd be perfect for that. And I think if Manchester United are in for him, then that's probably what we're looking for him to do. Yes, he's very good as a box-to-box midfielder, and he offers a lot going forward. But Michael Carrick did. Michael Carrick, if you look back at his career at Spurs, he wasn't really a sitting midfielder. He was more of a box-to-box midfielder, and he's very good creatively. He's got a good shot on him. But he adapted his game at Manchester United and became one of the best centre defensive midfielders in the last 10 years in the Premier League. And I think Nainggolan can do that as well. So it's an interesting one. And I think if we're not in for Fabinho, there's only him and one other who I'll mention later in the week who I would want at Manchester United. And people like Eric Dyer and Matic don't rock my boat. Nainggolan does, and I agree with everybody who says he's a box-to-box midfielder, but I think he would fit in as a centre defensive midfielder and adapt his game to a more disciplined role very, very, very well. And I think if you had a midfield 3 of Nainggolan, Herrera and Pogba, you probably wouldn't have that many problems in life. It would be a very, very good midfield 3. And also, I think with Herrera and Nainggolan, if you were to play a midfield, like I've said, where you've got sort of like a midfield 2 with Pogba slightly further ahead, then Nainggolan and Herrera would work well in that position. You don't necessarily have to have a specialist centre defensive midfielder. You could just sort of have Herrera and Nainggolan together with Pogba slightly advanced, where they've got responsibility defensively, collectively, and they can also get forward as well. So I think that would work really well. I'd like Nainggolan, and you know what? I will keep saying this until the cows come home. Nobody knows what Manchester United are doing at the moment. I really do feel that the Eric Dyer thing is just paper talk. I don't think there's anything in that. I don't think there is. Because if Spurs were willing to get rid of Eric Dyer, who's only just signed a new contract for £50 million, who are Spurs looking to get... Sorry, I always yawn on the morning show. Who are Spurs looking to get hold of if they're willing to let Eric Dyer go? And that's my problem, whether it's Matic from Chelsea or Dyer from Spurs. Why are we taking players that those clubs who finished above us would be willing to get rid of. We're Manchester United. We should be going out and making the sort of signing that is suitable for us, and not picking up players that clubs that we should be better than in the Premier League don't want anymore. So Nainggolan would be perfect for that role. So there we have it. I think Perisic is probably looking like being the next signing for Manchester United. I think we started last week and expected at least one signing to happen. We knew Lindelof was going to happen. We expected one more at least. Perisic has got to happen soon. I don't know what the situation is. He's probably getting married like everybody else, but I don't know what the situation with him personally is, whether he's on holiday, whether it can happen this week. I don't know. But I think what is clear is that Manchester United want him at the right price. And for us to be bartering for that, it's clear that we know that Perisic wants to come. And he very much fits in with what Mourinho is. And he'd be a very exciting signing if we signed him. If not a glamorous signing, I think he'd be an exciting signing. And he would shock a few United fans who are a bit sort of dubious about it. But we'll see. As for Ronaldo, we can't keep talking about Ronaldo every show because it will get boring. But I think the press want to run with this. And I don't think there is going to be a conclusion with Ronaldo because he's at the CONCACAF in Russia. I don't see this. I see this deal running and running and running. And can we afford that to happen? We've got to go. We've got to forge forward with what our plans are, or we've got to get a definitive answer from Ronaldo that he wants to come to United. And then if it takes 4 or 5 weeks, it takes 4 or 5 weeks. But we've got to get that indication, and we've got to get it quick, because otherwise we've had our fingers burnt so many times on Ramos and Fabregas, on others, where it takes all summer and you end up signing Fellaini as a backup. We don't want that to happen. We need quick answers from Ronaldo, and I don't expect that to be in the press. But George Mendes is Mourinho's agent. Mourinho needs to speak to Mendes and just find out, look, is this real? Is this viable? And if it's yes, we get the deal done in 2 months. If it's no, we carry on. And I think that's going to be quite telling. So keep your eye out on that. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to drop us a like. It's nice to be back doing the transfer show. I know it was a bit haphazard last week. We will react if there's any live signings during the day as per usual, but if not, we'll be live tonight at 8:30 with the Skype show. I'm expecting a lot of you phoning in about Ronaldo tonight. I don't know why I think that, but remember, it's anything you want to talk about in relation to Manchester United. It's your show tonight. Get commenting below, give us your thoughts on everything we've discussed today, and don't forget to join us live at 8:30. Thanks for watching, and all I would say is, look, I think some people are starting to get a bit negative about United at the moment in our transfer business because we haven't signed another player. We signed one last week. I think this summer could be the biggest yet. I still have this feeling that something's going to happen, and it might upset a few people, but I still think De Gea might go to Real Madrid. Give us your thoughts below. Thanks for watching.